Hey, beautiful people. How are you doing this beautiful autumn evening or afternoon? It is a beautiful day. It's like mid 60s. I want to say salute to you. Thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe, share with a friend. Salute to my OG, big homie, the fifth house, sparking this conversation. But it is a paper, this precise conversation is a paper that I wrote a month ago. I published it October the 15th, I believe it was. Today's November the 4th, so I published it a month ago within the Fixed Gate, which is a private group of us that are undergoing a certain aspect of teachings. So it's a private circle within my Patreon, and the only thing you have to do is send an email, be a member of the Patreon, and send an email, and have to undergo Tai Chi. So you have to do Tai Chi, okay? All right, so let's have this conversation. The paper was titled Delusional Karmic Belief Disorder. Delusional Karmic Belief Disorder. I'll say it again. Delusional Karmic Belief Disorder. And the premise is, hey, we believe in karma. What goes around comes around. We believe in the law of cause and effect. Let's up it up an ante. We believe in God. We believe that God is the author of all things. God is allows things to happen. Okay, let's up it up an ante. We believe as spiritual beings, a soul and spirit. We believe that we come down to the earth plane to have all the experiences that we have because these experiences is good for our soul. And it's good for our evolution. That's the purpose. It's really for our evolution to evolve and grow. In fact, the school of thought says that when we're in the celestial world, before we take on the physical form, we're making the agreement to come down here to undergo these experiences. We just forget those experiences when we come into the body. Now, I like that school of thought because it aligns with the Eastern teaching, the Buddhist teaching, even the Hindu teachings. I'm going to say even the Islamic teaching, when you go to chapter 75, they call it resurrection, but I think it really should be called reincarnation because it's talking about the soul coming back, okay? But anyway, and so when we understand this, right, that, okay, we're coming from that level, then all of our experiences are really a divine experience. And I always like to tell the story of the book of Job. It's very interesting. God sees the devil. He's like, what up, homie? The devil like, what up? God like, where you been, bro? And he's like, hey, man, I just been going from here to there, weathering here to there. And God like, I tell you what, man, I need you to go fuck up Job for me. You know what I'm saying? Don't kill him, but fuck him up real good, right? This is very interesting because God didn't kill the devil. And this book is a very clever book. It's very great to get you to understand something. And see, here's the thing, right? People never question that. Why didn't God kill the devil when you got him? Like, you finally got him. You can rid this motherfucker off the earth forever. And this could be a paradise on earth. This could be heaven on earth right here. If you just, because you see him, you got him, kill this nigga, right? And so there's a story here. It's a deeper story here. And that the authors want to get you to understand, to get to unfold in your consciousness. And that story is this. So Job's going through all these afflictions. He's getting fucked up, his skin getting fucked up, boils on the skin, his cattle, livestock getting fucked up. And his wife is like, hey, don't curse God. And Job was like, shut up, stupid. The evil come from God. The good just don't come from God. The evil come from God too, dummy. I'm cool. I ain't falling for that trick of duality. And then this is my favorite line. And I'm sorry when I teach it this way, I used to call this the street gospel because I'm really here to teach it to the streets. I don't really care about conservatives in that aspect of it, right? And so, you know, they say my sheep know me by my voice. And so I'm talking this way on purpose. So anyway, the very next line said something that was really amazing. And it said, for all that Job said, he said nothing wrong. So when Job attributed his afflictions to God and not the devil, they said that this was actually right because all that he said nothing wrong. And I said, damn, that's deep. Because we think that God and the devil are two totally different things, and you don't understand the other part of scripture. I think that's in Isaiah, where it's like, hey, I, God, create good. I create evil. I, God, do all these things. He didn't say the devil did it. God said, I do both of these things, sucker. Right? So you got to understand duality. Genesis, the whole book of Genesis is about duality. Right? That's the tree, this tree, and then you had another tree. And then the first kids is Cain and Abel. Duality. Okay, you got to understand what it's really talking about. So anyway, if we truly believe we are the karmic thing, the karmic belt, if it's truly divine, then that means we cannot hold space in our minds, in our bodies, that is contrary to accepting our experience. So in other words, if I feel like whoever wronged me, right? I've been robbed before at gunpoint, but as a teenager, that was in my 20s in the streets. But as a teenager, allegedly, I masked up and I robbed a corner store, allegedly. Okay, so for that, the robbery that happened to me, can I look back in my life honestly and say, well, did you ever hold a gun to somebody and rob them? Oh, yes, you did. So who am I to be egotistical and be like, who these dudes, which by the way, we found out who he is and got my shit back. But who am I to be egotistical to go on the mission when I understand that I've done the exact same thing, right? I've always said it before, in the 90s, I helped create a crack baby. And she pregnant. I said, no. She crying. I end up submitting to my lower nature and giving her the crack rock. And that's a crack baby I know that came out of that. A baby could have possibly died, right? Well, shit, I could have a kid that died. Now, who am I to be, oh God, why you do this and that, right? Can I make a correlation in my own life where I can see, like, oh, nigga, you was bogus on XYZ. So here it go, tit for tat. That's karma. Can you accept that? Are you gonna be blind enough and stay in your ignorance and create more? And so, thank God, man. Thank God that I've been able to get to a point to have some sense of morality and questioning. And here's the kicker. You got to become like Jacob. Remember, Jacob wrestled God, the angel of God. He wrestling. And then he said, I'm going to name this place Peniel, which means face of God, because I've seen God face to face. And then after that, Jacob got a promotion. He wrestled the angel and his name changed from Jacob to Israel. Whoa. When you wrestle God, you get a promotion. So you have to wrestle God, which is going to really bleed into another conversation, another paper I'm going to write, which is going to be called Subconscious Atheist. Be what you want to be. It's not. The point of this is, if I ask, are you an atheist? You would say no. You believe in the universe. You believe in a divine order, divine intention. This thing is mathematical. It's something that's there. It's consciousness that's there. So I'm not an atheist, right? But your belief of saying, oh, well, God gave it to you. So if God made this for you and didn't do divine intervention, didn't stop the abuse from happening, didn't stop all these things from happening that you pissed about, right? Holding all this negative energy about, then why ain't you like Job and give it to God and be okay? So for you to even hold the opposition shows me you truly don't believe that. Nor do you really truly believe in the God. And that's what makes you subconscious atheist. And now you fall in this thing of what we would call delusional karmic disbelief, karmic belief disorder. You see what I'm saying? Because it's just delusional. You can't serve two masters at the same time. Either it's divinity and for your greater good and purpose, or you don't believe in it. And if you don't believe in it, then you can hold that position. But for those of us that come from a spiritual cloth that says that it is all divine within our nature, everything is good for us in that sense, then we cannot hold a negative position on something. Now, let me be clear. This does not mean I have to be hunky-dory with you. It's called compassionate detachment. The Buddhists know this. Compassionate detachment. I can care for you and have compassion for you, but I don't have to be attached to you. Especially a negative attachment within my mind and body. Body is important. I keep telling you, for years I had a sty on my right eye because I didn't see eye to eye with a brother who I was working with before. And so that lumps up into the body. This is why this work that I do, Tai Chi, and I said you got to come through Tai Chi, and then it's a more integrated work that I'm not going to mention that deals more with expelling negative energy from the body. We got to get these energetic programs. So see, this is the thing. It's also known as an engram. All thoughts produce vibration. All vibration produce a chemical reality. So your thoughts that you don't like a person, that takes lodge somewhere in your body, man. You better understand that, because your energy at the core. Heartbeat, brainwave. Your energy at the core. So energy oscillates. And so when it becomes a blockage and gets stuck somewhere, then we start to call that pain, discomfort, disease. Okay? So we got to move that, and we move it through certain practices. This is why I say, if you really want to get in with me, you're going to have to do Tai Chi, because I come to this realization that we're energy. And what are the ways that we can best cultivate this energy body that we are? Okay. So, all right. So anyway, in a nutshell, we got to stop serving two masters and pump faking. Either we truly believe and surrender to the concept, Toshan, surrender to the concept of what we believe with this karma and this spiritual thing, or we don't. And it's fine if we don't. Then that just means you don't believe, and just don't believe, and that's okay, right? I never forget, man. I never forget. Because now I'm kind of bleeding. I'm going to write another paper called Subconscious Atheist. When my mother called me and was telling me about my son being dead, and she crying, and I asked her, Mom, do you believe in God? She said, I don't know. See, if I asked you on a regular day, you would say yes. But in the time of distress, woo-wee, like Job was, let's see what you say now. But Job didn't fail the test. You cannot fail the test, man. You can't fail the test, right? And so, we are suppressing because we don't understand what's going on. I never forget with YG, the rapper, when Nipsey was there, he just couldn't understand, man, why God gonna take the good one? That shit ain't adding up to me. And this is where you got to get into, hey, bro, you got to get into karma. Did he ever ride on somebody before? Because he said he did. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever been on a mission? You know what I mean? Like, things happen for a reason, and we got to start understanding the correspondence of these things. That's the beautiful part about it. So when you get into the Hermetic science, or these 7 universal laws, all is mental, meaning it's all consciousness. Then the law of correspondence, meaning learn how to start measuring, but measure what? Rhythm, polarity, gender, vibration, right? Cause and effect. You start understanding these laws, like, oh, okay, it all vibrates. So if it vibrates, then there's a rhythm. If there's a rhythm, then there's a tick and a tock to it. There's an up and down to it. There's an ebb and flow to it, right? And then within it, you can call one masculine, you can call one feminine within it. You see what I'm saying? And I ain't talking about male, female. I'm talking up or down. You see what I'm saying? Plus, minus on the battery terminal, this duality thing. But it's this one thing that's manifesting itself in a dual state. This is why I keep saying the book of Genesis is all about you understanding duality. It was 2 trees in the beginning. This tree, but don't eat of this tree. Duality. Good, evil. Duality. Life, death. Duality. Cain and Abel. Identical twins. Twins. The same thing. One thing. 2 different functions. That's called yin yang, man. You got to understand this. You got to understand it. So when you truly understand it in its totality, we can never hold the position to have someone in a negative space where it affects us in a negative way. That's the trick. That's the game. That's the wisdom. It don't mean I have to be hunky-dory with you. It don't mean that. It just simply means I have to have it within myself where it does not, my thought does not even click and register in a way that produces a negative reaction. Because you know who's watching you? You know who the real watchers are? Your amygdala and your hippocampus. But mainly your amygdala, the Amy G. Dollar. The amygdala is the real watcher of how you perceive reality. Listen to me. Listen to me closely when I tell you this, and think about this. They tell you, go look up the function of the amygdala. Oh, it deals with fight or flight and what you're afraid of. Okay. But only I determine what I'm afraid of. The amygdala don't tell me I'm afraid of whatever. It don't tell me that. I tell myself that based off my perception. So when I see the water snake, because I don't like snakes like that. So when I see the water snake and I be like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? The amygdala is like, oh shit, snake, okay. Then the hippocampus, the memory says, oh shit, store it, snake. Okay, now we see snake, we know how to survive. He don't like snake. The glands in the brain are watching your perception. So that means what? We give it its direction. We're pretty much giving it its directive and its function. Yes? It has to mean that. Okay? So it's not doing it by itself per se. Okay? And so the name of the game is to be in control of command and learn how to practice. I would definitely say compassionate detachment and get to a place where we can surrender to this concept of karma, God's will, everything is for me, it's for me, right? And being okay with that. And I'm not saying suffer when I say be okay with that. Because, see, that's the thing. There's no such thing as suffering per se. When you understand that, okay, lesson well learned, that's not my frequency, got it, let me evolve. See, you can go through different states, and I'll close with this. And this don't mean that you allow the bullshit to happen, because guess what's another state? Divine intervention, the Archangel Gabriel coming and tearing people's ass up, the Archangel Michael coming and kicking somebody's ass. So when you start to violate, somebody wants to come and violate this order, or what I would deem to be, let's just say, a violation. Nah, that don't happen on my watch, right? Because there's the aspect of consciousness that says, oh, Michael, kick ass. Oh, Gabe, kick ass, right? So these are all different states of consciousness that we evolve through. So it don't mean accept suffering in that sense, like you sitting there suffering. But there's a whole nother science that talks about identifying suffering as the cause and then learning how to move through it and get past it. Okay? All right? So I'm not telling you to stay in suffering, because even the Buddhists with the Four Noble Truths, they don't tell you to stay in suffering. Identify suffering and then learn how to get past it. Okay? That's what I'm getting at. All right? So with that, again, I'd love to see you in the Patreon again. And man, I have like over 20 something papers now, and there's very well written. People love them. They're really great papers. I'm honestly, they're really great papers. But this is how you get them. You got to be a member of the Patreon. And when you're a member of the Patreon, if you want to go into the fixed gate, you absolutely have to be willing to learn Tai Chi and do Tai Chi classes. If you're willing to do Tai Chi classes, then shoot me an email once you're in the Patreon and say, hey, I'm in, let's go on this ride. Because again, we're doing the beautiful practices that deals with magnetizing the spine, moving the energy around, getting these blockages. See, our hindrances is really what's called, it comes from internal pathogenic chi. Our own internal emotions is creating dis-ease and discomfort in our bodies. So now we must discipline ourselves to go through certain practices to go ahead to move the chi, dispel the chi out the body. It's simple. The hardest part is, are you going to be dedicated to doing the practice every day? You can ask my people in the fixed gate. Every day, I ain't miss. I'm going to be clear with that. I have not missed. Every day I send the email and it says fixed gate practice 10-4. If today's October the 4th or 11-4 fixed gate practice complete. And I tell them the set of practices that I did. I do it to hold myself accountable because I'm your brother and I'm on this journey with you. I just share what I know and what's given, and I undergo it with you. Okay? So with that, I love to see you. All right?